I'm never going to get used to the fact that the beginning is going to be fitting now with this little update. Also, it's hot! Ladies and gentlemen, to Goosebumps HorrorTown playthrough. I am Grim, and I've turned off my fan so that you wouldn't hear the blade of an airplane in the background, because I know that that's going to be a problem, but you know what, deal with it. It's the summertime, right? When we get to fall, we'll be not needing to deal with that, but for now, I'm going to let you not have to deal with that garbage as of now. But as we expect today, we're going to be taking a look into the Crafting 101 to this newest event, a Shocker on Shock Street. This was an update I was looking forward to when I've learned about this, and I'm kind of happy with some of the results, and I'm going to be sharing with that to you now. Now, at the time you're watching this video, I'm going to be utilizing my new phone to just show you some information as well as some interesting takes. The other thing I want to note with this new phone, unfortunately, is that, well, one thing that is actually great is that the RAM on it is so high that it actually loads real quick, meaning that the gameplay should be a lot more smoothly and the animation should look a little bit more cleaner than it usually is. The problem of this, though, is that the phone is a bit widescreen, and for some reason near the left side it cuts off some of it, so there's this big black square there. So for the purposes of moving forward with when I'm using my new phone for capturing some video, you'll see a little bar on the side there, a little design bar. That's only there just to kind of mask the blackness so it's not too ugly looking when you're watching it, but just know that I'm not blocking anything. It's just, it makes my life easier to having to add the bar, so just know that. It's just like the my tablet playthroughs of some other quest lines, but it's not going to be as bad. The reason why that's the case, though, is the fact that, this new phone, my old phone used to record on a program which only records within the game's file. This new phone records everything, so it screen captures everything, meaning that everything that pops up you'll see. So everything on the phone you're gonna see, which is something I am not a fan of and I'm annoyed by. But I will make do with this. It's gonna be a learning curve. I think for the most part it's gonna be a better run for everybody, so it's just gonna get used to this. It's minor potatoes. But that's not what you're interested in. No, you're interested in how you can get yourself the Shockdro's House of Shocks, or the House of Shocks as I'm just going to call it. The building looks somewhat like this, and it seems somewhat interesting. The other thing, too, you might be looking into is the fact that there is going to be also the book prize, which is the Cavern of No Return. And this is what it looks like here. And, yeah, that's gonna be it. So, I think that's about all I'm gonna say right now for the post-edit. So, what you're about to watch is gonna be my gameplay and audio through the phone. I think in the phone's microphone, the microphone for the phone is a little bit better than the other one. We're gonna have to wait and see. I guess some people don't mind it, so it's gonna make my life a little easier. Let me know what you think down below, and let's just get into it, shall we? Well, not only do we just start off with the nice new animation we got here for the plaza, the I guess the icon for the shark park, but we also get to hear my lovely voice via the interesting audio quality. But yeah, this and other videos are going to be a little bit different. But hopefully this will make it a little bit go faster and make my life a little more easier, but we will see. Anyways, as usual, this little area right here is the crafting area. And as you'll see, this is Faraday Studios. There's a few things to note here, and I'm going to point this out right now. Now, there is the film rolls that you can get with doing the nuts and bolts and the 3D glasses. But you also notice that, and I'm going to point this out right now, the film reels themselves can also be dropped by other items, and for the most part, these three here are going to be the items that are going to be the most, like, most of these characters are going to be dropping these three items only.
Usually the higher level characters or special characters are going to have their own special uniqueness to them, but I'll explain that a little bit more in depth. But first things first, let's take a look at the prize, which is the Shockdro's House of Shocks. And as you can see, there are a few things we need. We need the extra skeleton, or 7 of them. We need 5, or 7, I have 5, but we need 7 of the robotic joints, 4 of the shock factors, and then 5 of the animatronic switch. Now, I'm going to be telling you how you should probably get this, and it's going to be a lot more easier now moving forward because of how they're kind of doing stuff. But one thing I'm going to note here is that the exoskeleton is going to be the hardest item to get, only because of the fact of what it's going to require. After you get that, you're going to look like you need to get the animatronic switch and the shock factors on their own, because again, they'll need some items. The only items you could probably get by itself is the robotic joints. However, it will need some crafting material that will be needed for, I believe, the animatronic switch, but we're going to be double checking that as of right now. So let's go back into this here, and we're going to show you what it means. So the Super 8 camera is one of these items that's going to be easy to grab because it's going to need the 3 normal items in it. For the most part, it relatively drops very quick and easy. The camera itself needs it for the electric frame, and it's going to be needed for the exoskeleton, so keep this in mind. Then we have the oil can. You'll need a lot of people to do blobs, and the can roaches. I'm going to point out to you, although there is a nice little feature that's been added to this update, one thing that hasn't is items that are like this. I'll show you characters that can drop these for you if you have them around. If not, then you just have to do it through the Monster Diner. And then there's, speaking of the Monster Diner, there's this new item called these snacks, which is I'm guessing the Shock Street snacks. And you'll need to do this in the Monster Diner. So yes, another Monster Diner item, which is out of nowhere. The oil can itself is only needed for the robotic joint. So if you get a certain character, which I'll mention, you won't have to get the robotic joints, which, by the way, you'll also need for these snacks and the can. So if you have a certain character that drops the robotic joints, then realistically you won't need the robotic joints at all. Now, the electric frame, if you've seen my playthroughs for a while, you'll know that this actually was introduced back in 2018 as I'm thinking of what the event was called. The Attack of the Christmas Present. This was one of the newer items that you had to craft in order to get to certain parts. So they're reusing this, which is interesting. That's not the only reused item, by the way, here. But yeah, the electric frame is going to be needed for the robotic joint as well as the animatronic switch. Now, you'll also be noticing that there is this weird Tesla coil item. This was introduced way back, I believe, currently the Welcome to Dead house, which, by the way, that book is supposed to be added to this update now, so you can relive that new that travesty. That's going to be its own separate video. But anyways, the Tesla core. You'll need to play the Wolf Boy and Wolf Girl scene to get this. Now, one thing I do like about this in particular, unlike the last event, I'll quickly just talk about these special items real quick right here. Go here. As you'll notice that both Wolf Boy and Wolf Girl, they are using the event items, and as you'll see with Wolf Boy, he's the cheapest with 350, and he drops you 100% of the Tesla coils, as well as Wolf Girl does too. So you only need one of these in order to actually be able to get the items fine. The addition of getting Wolf Girl is getting a second one for free. So that means you get double instead of getting one and having to wait. I believe their wait time is about 1.5 hours, much like the other scene, which I'm going to be talking about in a momentarily. But one thing of interest to note when it comes to these two is that they are seen monster items in the sense of like how the Halloween decorations were, like the headless horseman that we saw last event, where once you summon him, he disappears from his little altar place, and when you click him, he summons back to his little area that he was posed before. So that's interesting. And again, the item itself, I believe, was reused from the Welcome to Dead House event, but I might be mistaken. Now, let me just click this and get the camera. It's going to be, this is just during a quest, by the way, so I might as well just have this going on here. Relatively quick, by the way, for the getting these items. The longest you'll get is the exoskeleton, which is about 3.5 minutes. So, not too bad as far as pricing goes, as far as the timers. Now, the harder items, as you'll see here, are going to be the robotic joints, the animatronic switch, and the exoskeleton. The robotic joint itself, like I explained, will need the oil and all that other stuff. There is one character that can actually drop this for you, so you could technically bypass this step if you want to. If you do go after this person, which I'll talk about when we get to him. The next one is the animatronic switch, which is required. As you'll see, you'll need tin can telephones. The good thing about the tin can telephones is that there is an item that drops them. Like, there are characters that drop them, but, no, not that. But if you go to the shop here, we have a waste container, so you could technically drop these things and get them every so often. However, there is also a character that you can utilize that'll be able to drop them for you without having to need to wait on certain things. And that is Carly Beth. If you happen to have Carly Beth, she is the only character that can actually just drop you tin can telephones on the fly. So that is useful there. Now I'm going to go back to the Faraday Studios. As you'll notice that with this new phone, it's a lot more faster, by the way, to go stuff real quick too. The game still lags when it comes to loading though, unfortunately. So anyways, going back here. Now we get to the exoskeleton. Now the exoskeleton will need two items. One of them is the animatronic switch, which is why you'll need the animatronic switch in order to get this item here. There is a character that can actually drop this as well. So again, there's a certain character that drops two of the needed items for this, as well as something else, which I'm going to mention now. The camera, Super 8 camera, is going to be easy to get, so that's not going to be too much of a problem. This is going to be a little bit of a grind, but not too bad from the looks of it. What is going to be a grind, though, guarantee, is going to be the shock factory. Now, for the shock factory itself, you only need 2 of these in order to get it. And technically speaking, you only need 4 of these in order to actually get the required item. But the issue with that, and the only downside to this, which I'm going to show off right now, is it needs to be played by this scene here, which is the Cavern of the Living Creeps. As you'll notice, it needs 2 characters. One of them is going to be Erin, our new character, who is the freemium character to this update, and she is really intriguing as far as when it comes to what she's offering. And then you need RB Faraday, and he's 75%, and he controls the giant mantis animatronic. And it's clear if you get both of these characters, then you're guaranteed to get the item, no problem. But if you only get Erin, it's going to be a bit of a long grind of difficulty. The good news is the wait time is a little bit low. However, this is going to be your biggest issue, is getting the amount of power cores in order to get this item just fine. Now, that being said, the time given and the amount of times you can come in and out for this and what is required for them, it is kind of doable. I think it's plausible to be able to do them, but again, we'll have to wait and see while this whole thing is going on. So, again, things can change while this whole thing's developing as we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now show you characters that are very useful. As you probably have noticed that I didn't address, when you go to the search crystal ball option, you'll notice that Marty is a different colored background. When we click on him, or tap on him, or just don't do anything, you'll notice now that there are color-coded backgrounds. which is the unique limited time items. They finally added something that I requested for them to do for a while, and it's now finally in the game. This is going to make my life and your life easier. So now you'll know what characters can do what for getting a event currency. Here you go. This is the event currency right now. It seems like it seems like now going forward that these event currencies are going to be like a little bit dropped, and it seems like they want you to go through the story and sell these items, utilize the pawn shop. It seems like that's what they're going for. And I'll talk about the unique two characters in a minute, but the pricing of it is a bit questionable on some of them, but I will make some arguments for it. Anyways, you got Sneaking and Into the Shocking Depths. Both of them have the same 2 hours and 30 minutes to do. So really, when it comes to what is needed to be done, you can get, you can do either of these things. I don't know what I draw there, but, you can either do one or the other, so it doesn't really matter. So for the time being, do we need him to do anything? No, we need her to do something. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll have you do Sneaking again. Alright, so that's done. So let's go ahead and talk about other important characters for now. One of them is the usual characters over here. You'll notice that there's a bunch of characters right now. These are just characters that can offer you some items off to the side. So, for example, Andrew Craw, he's not needed for the quest, but he does drop you the blobs, which, by the way, you have this meter right here that can do that, as well as the blob monolith, if you have that around. Excuse me. Getting throat there. Mrs. Marr actually is required for this update because she drops some 3D glasses, and that's all she does, so that'll make your life easier. Lucy and Mortman, again, they only have one animation task, and Mortman gives you the bolts as well as Lucy, so we'll have him do that. You'll see Mrs. Dark. We'll click her here. If we can, there we go. And she only does one, which is the 3D glasses, so we'll have her do that. Now, I believe the magic assistant helps you with getting the canned roach. Actually, no. What she does help you with is getting the roach to go. If you bought the Bad Hair Day pack, you can have her do the roach to go because, as you'll notice with the snacks, you'll need these two things here. So again, it's relatively easy to grab them, but the item's only needed for one of the oil items, and if you can bypass not needing to craft the oil, then you can bypass doing this as snacks. So there's that. Anyways, before we go to the premium items, we'll just get rid of some of these stuff here. Theo helps you with getting some of the roaches to go. So there's that. I believe Rachel is unique. Again, I'm going all over the place. I apologize. If you happen to have Rachel back in May, you'll notice that she has something called web surfing that goes to the library, and she gives you a film roll. This is the first time in a while that a character is useful for 3 events in a row. And that's weird because both Dr. Brownstein and Mark are not used in this event at any way, but Rachel is. So you have another character that can drop you some more currency and film reels, so there's that. Sharon drops you some blobs. Again, I'm just showing you quick characters that can drop you certain items, so they're not really needed, but there's something that keeps you noticed and occupied. There is the toy scavenge from Dustin. This is the only quest he has to be able to do this, so we'll have him do that. I believe there might be another character walking about here. Yeah, Amazo helps you drop the tin can foods. I believe Yvonne helps you with the tin can foods. This helps you with the roaches to go for Conrad. I think he gives you 2. Slappy helps you with the blob. So really, not really. For a king, he's not very useful, is he? Right? Anyways, the mayor. She's actually needed for this quest line, and she only has 1 quest, which is something that was introduced last update, which at the time of this recording is yet to be up. Like, I've done all the recording, like video work. It's just having to get everything edited and ready to go. And it's reading an important email, which gives you 2 hours and a half to get you a film reel. So again, nothing too special, but it is something. You'll notice, oh, so they finally fixed they fixed this guy's animation. For a while, it was probably like you'll see in my quest line that there was an issue with him being in the background, but they finally fixed him. As you'll see, this is the mayor's son who's doing some parkour on top of the mayor's town hall, which is a bit of a bad boy move. But yeah, he's only available or useful for getting the 3 major items. So really, he's not that like really needed. But again, there are certain items he can drop you the normal 3. So it's something to note. Alright, so now we're going to go up here. Shock helps you drop, I believe it was, if I remember correctly, I think it was just blobs, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just blobs. So again, the other items to craft, the normal items, are not that bad. Walter is interesting because not only does he give you roaches to go, but he does give you a blob if you want. So if you have that useless character, there you go. You can utilize that. I still don't know. I still don't think his value of cost is that worth, right? Yeah, so I see some. I'll take care of them later. But yeah, we have Brooke. She actually helps with the event currency, so we'll have her do that. The other character that is... This one does a blob, so again, this is another blob, which is interesting, like blowing bubblegum.
Quick reminder, there's also Fifi that can actually help you drop some of the canned roaches over here for 9 minutes. The problem is you'll need the library. I believe it's the library. However, it's stupid because you need, if there's 2 people in there, then they won't work. And unfortunately, both Mr. Mortman and Lucy uses it. So, yeah, if you do have her, she does drop it, but one of the 2 won't be able to do anything for you. So, yeah, just think about that.
Yeah, so a lot of these characters are just normal, what you call drops and whatnot, so it's not that too important. But let's talk about our last 2 characters here, with the unique ones. So let's look at Connor. If you bought this poor guy, what does he drop? Well, not only does he drop you the 3 normal items, but then he also does... He's the only character that uniquely gets the snacks. So, if you have no other way to get the oil, you could get him to just keep on... Like, honestly, if you want, you can just have him do this quest only. But if you do the other 3, that's fine too. So we'll just have him do that because, again, I like putting characters who is unique to do those specific tasks. If you have the magician, Mr. Zawid, he actually gives you the oil can. So really, if you get this guy right here, you don't need Connor at all. So just note that he can just do this. So really, if you have Mr. Zawid, just make him vanish all the time. It fits with his storyline. As we'll see, he's kind of briefly mentioned in this update, as well as a certain 2 characters that I ended up liking have returned. Now we've gone... Oh yeah, and then we have one more here, which is Evan, which drops us blobs. So there we go. Now this is where we get to the interesting characters, the 2 that I have talked about before. Now I feel like before we talk about these 2 characters, we should also talk about the certain items that comes with the drops. So currently right now, besides these, The drive-in sign is a unique item. It only gives you one, and it gives you some bolts, so really, not that bad. The fry camp trash is the only unique one, and that gives you a camera every 4 hours and 30 minutes, so a long time. It's not really worth, like, I really do like the deco and the design of what they did here as a tribute to the Fright Camp with R.B. Faraday's story. The item they dropped though and the time is kind of like, it's nice, but it's just like, it's I feel like you're cheaper off getting the cameras and other means, as we'll soon see. We talked about these guys here. And then, of course, we have the RB cameras and the 3D shock posters, which you can buy multiple of these. So really, the only unique items to get is the nuts and bolts. So I would suggest for when it comes to characters that can drop you any of the three and that's it, have them do the nuts and bolts, because it seems like the film reels as well as the glasses are going to be the easiest items to get, especially if you're buying multiple of the cameras and the 3D shock posters, which I will be doing because, quite frankly, I think it's a nice... the items they are offering are very intriguing for me to play around with. So, there we go. As far as these two go, RB Faraday's is tram or a truck or whatever you like to call it, film on the reel studio. Every 3.5 hours drops you 6 of these the batteries, which I'm guessing is the currency, as well as errands. So, you know what? Because I have to click on the building anyways, let's just have errand get clicked. Yeah, so every 3.5 hours gives you 5, so one gives you a little bit more than the other. So let's talk about Erin, for example. Erin is interesting because she gives you 3 of the items we've come to expect to craft. She is another character that does the self-repair oil, and she's the only character that actually drops the Super 8 camera. So really, if you really need the Super 8 camera, you can have her do this, this right here, this weird scribbling. But if I am going to willingly choose, you could have her do flight mode because it's the nuts and bolts, and some characters won't be doing that. Or like Zawid, you can have her just do self-repair. I will also mention that most of these quests, especially besides hiding the garage, every other quest here or quest line or task, whatever you call them, are animated and they're all unique. So unlike Connor, she's so far as of a character that's available for event currency, she's actually quite worth it. She's a little bit high though. You need 500 of the Goosebucks, not the Goosebucks, sorry. I'm thinking of the other guy. Give me a sec about him. We need the event currency, which I guess is the batteries. Now, the only ways you can get them is by doing the quest line, which gives you cash, so that's nice. And then, the other thing here with these two stuff here, or you can have certain characters just buy them off here. So again, it seems like it's now commonplace to be doing this type of stuff here. Now then, let's talk about the man of the hour, the resistance, the guy who's probably the main feature to this presentation. Let's talk about RB Faraday. He is a unique character, not by the design of him, as I'll be gleefully talking about when his part comes up. But he is unique because he has a lot of the items. The only thing with him is framing a scene is the only item out of the 3 major ones that he can drop. The other one is a dolly shot, which gives you a Super 8 camera, which isn't really that, great, in my personal opinion. But, as you'll notice, he has an animation called Cut, 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 which requires the electric frame, or it does give you the electric frame, which does help for some items. But, as you'll probably notice as of right now, he has 2 tasks. Premiere, which gives you a robotic joint, which is one of the items you need. And then we have movie editing, which gives you the animatronic switch. So this guy right now something interesting with him is that if you get this guy, you have 3 of these items guaranteed for the event here. The only items that you won't be able to get is the ectoskeleton, but when you have this guy, the items you'll need for the ectoskeleton is going to be really piss easy. So in other words, as much as this guy costs 750 of the Goosebucks, or the hard currency, is he worth the value? Yes. Now you think I'm insane when I say this, but hear me out. This guy is a very unique character as far as his animation goes. His storyline is very unique as far as, like, look at his animation for a minute. This is his idle animation, him walking around. He really does stand out as a character. He's also very humorous with the items that he's posted with. One, for example, is the Five Nights at Freddy inspired drive-in movie theater. And as you'll see in this quest line, it's very humorous of exactly what this whole thing was supposed to be for. And I will be talking about that right now. Speaking of, because, and this is something I'm going to say right now. One of the biggest complaints with this game, as we'll notice, is that as of lately, there's been a lot of premium, and not premium, but a bit of the premium buying bundles, but then also a lot of the limited time stuff. There's no premium content that has been staying. The last premium update we had technically is the back a year ago in May. Now, one of the reasons why this is the case is partially to do with the fact that there is more of a gap if you do higher level updates with these characters. Now, something I am going to be working with the partner, or not the partner, but, you know, the contact that I have, which I'm going to try to talk to them about, is I want to see if they can find a way to make these, and it seems like these limited time content updates are going to be here to stay, but seeing how they're slowly adding and fixing some of these problems to each update, I'm hoping that at some point they'll find a method where they'll do a Werewolf of Fever Swamp event. In the sense of what I mean by that is that back in February of 2019, and then when they did the first Valentine's Day update, they had a Werewolf of Fever Swamp. And although that was unique for its own little event thing, it was also a permanent update. So if they have a way to do that kind of aspect and have characters stick around after the event ends, I think that'll be better off. I know right now they have these special books going on, and it seems like they're going to be staying around, so they're not going to disappear. Once they're added in, they're there, and they're always going to be there for the weekends. But it is something I want to point out to the devs, and hopefully they'll be able to fix that. Now, the one thing I'm going to get, and a lot of people are like, oh man, this, you know, they don't listen to us. They do. And the reason I say that is, and we're over here right now with the drive-in theater. That's one of the other great things about this camera, this new phone, is the fact that I can able to be pausing videos on the fly. But yeah, as you see, we can watch videos. But as we've noticed a few months before, it was like restricting to only like one video a day almost, it feels like. They've now fixed this. I've probably talked about this in the previous videos coming up. But it seems like they released the restriction of the cache. So it seems like they're giving you a lot more opportunity. So being able to buy Faraday is a very it's very possible to do. Now, as far as the bundles go, as far as right now, we have 2 bundles that happen. One of them is Faraday's and the other one is Aaron's. If you had to pick one of the 2, I'd go for Faraday because, again, he is higher cost, and Aaron is only available for the event currency, so really you can get her pretty easy. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the book. Before we end it off, let's talk about the book right here. So, the book. As you'll notice, it says 3 out of 16. Now, one thing that is interesting during this quest line is that they have now started to put like 3 out of 16 on the thing. This hasn't happened since I think after Halloween of the first Halloween update. They seem to have changed it, And it seems like they brought this back now. So, for this book, the only requirements is that you need Erin. And Erin is required regardless, so you'll have to get her anyways. Once you beat the main story, which is only 16 parts, you can get the prize here, which is the Cavern of No Returns. Now, I can't tell you exactly what is being required here, but it's going to be obvious that there's going to be... it's probably going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be hard to say because the last update, it was real easy to get the item through the book. So it might be that case. It might be in the sense of it being the same as this, except lower in tier. It's going to be hard to say, but we will have to wait and see how that goes overall. Now, these things over here, these characters, these items, if you get both Faraday and Erin, this whole event will be guaranteed 100% easy. And as I said, usually some of these premium players or characters, I tend to tell you you should get or you shouldn't get. Like last time, Connor wasn't worth the value. Faraday, on the other hand, I will say is. He's a bit pricey, I will say that. $750, he's the most expensive character thus far. But I will give him credit when they're trying to make him more useful in the sense that he's actually more, like, he gives you guarantee these items regardless. Now, the only sucky part is it doable to do this without the Faraday? Yes, kinda. As I said, you only need Erin, and it's only 25%, unfortunately. The thing with Erin, though, is that you can only have to cost 250 of the coins of the soft currency, which is interesting because we've never seen this for a while now. So, kudos to them for doing this. So, you don't need to use up your event currency. You're only using event currency for the event-specific items, so there's that to look forward to. Now, again, I believe it's about every 2.5... No, it's like 1.5 hours for a wait time, so you could technically keep on sending her off and trying to grind these items. And quite frankly, if you do summon this this character, she just obliterates everybody. Like, I'll show you in the quest line in this video, but like, you know what? Screw it, I'll spawn her right now. Like, watch this. So, as you'll see, this is her spinning around, but watch what happens. She'll go after somebody, and as soon as she does, she'll just, like a tornado, like a Tasmanian devil, she'll just keep on hitting everybody you see. Like, look how quick this is. Hits. Goes fast. Hits. Go to the next guy. Like, there's no stopping. This keeps on going bomb, bomb. See, look at this, bomb. It's like a sonic pinball machine going on here. So, with her being summoned, you can actually get a lot of these spooky grind points if you're really after that. So she, again, so far as a freemium character for this year that was added, I really do like her. I'm into the story still. I'm like in part 4, so I can't really say for sure about her character within the story, how I feel about her just yet, because it's so far she's not really talkative. And I'm hoping she does talk and that she's not the silent type, but we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see. But yeah, as far as this goes, it's a bit interesting. Anyways, she's done. Let's see if I'm lucky. And I was. Wow. So I ended up getting the item itself. So if we go back here, look at that. I got wow, okay. So it's hard. It's hard to say. Is it possible to get it? Maybe. I can't say for sure, but I would like to have you in the comment section tell me what you think of this. Is it possible? Did you have an easy time to get the fear factors? Because I remember there were a case when it came to like, say for example this was hard to get these items for some reason because of the grind. But they may have actually fixed the percentage, as in the sense of, like, say, when this event was going on for the Welcome to Dead house, it was like you can summon him up for 60%, much like the other area, but he is like guarantee keeps on giving you the items. Like even getting the 30% was able to get it. So the backwards, it may say 90, but it might be 100. I don't know exactly for the full extent, but there's that. But like I said again, it's even less. It's about a minute and 20 seconds. So there you go. So every 2 hours or 1.5 hours, come back, summon her, keep on doing it. Eventually you'll get it. So I would say this event is very doable, even if you don't get Faraday. And the best part about this too, by the way, Faraday is optional. He is like, for me personally, I do like getting Faraday because he's an interesting character and I do like his quest line. But again, if you're looking for just the book, you can get everything without getting Faraday 100%. Faraday is not required for this book. Only Erin is, and she's required for the quest line regardless. So, and I think this is what they're going to be doing moving forward because they introduced the new special books. They're designing all the updates now to be as if they're adding the special books to them. So that will be interesting how that is going to be like for all these quest lines past the after this. You probably understand with my ramblings here. Now then, with that being said and all that more, let's get to the final conclusion. Honestly, hopefully my rambling is enough to kind of convince you otherwise. This event has made me a bit relieved because so far I was scared because this was an anniversary, not only for the first, it's been a year since I've done this type of content, the Crafting 101 videos, but this is also the first time for a while that these awful, the movie event, August theme, and they return, and I'm like, oh no, not again. It's even blue, oh no, but you know, it's not awful. It's not awful at all. And, you know, hopefully people will enjoy it. I'll be... one thing I will mention, though, is if you actually have any suggestions or what you feel so far, let me know down below in the comment section. Let's get a discussion going. Let's see what happens, right? But anyways, as of right now, 26 days, 21 hours, 36 minutes, and 39 seconds. How long will this take? So let's go ahead and find out. As we all know, when it comes to me, it's either going to be over or under the date. It's never the actual date. So, looking at it and talking to Google, according to Google, this event will end Wednesday, September 9th, 2020 at 8 PM EDT. Now, that gives us about 4 weeks to deal with this. I feel like this is very doable. If you started the event right away, you'll probably get through this, or at least by the latest, get through the story. The actual grand prize of it, Shockdro's place, looks interesting. Once it goes down, though, I will see if he's actually... Like, I'm curious if it's actually going to be animated like this here. If that's the case, then I can see why it was the grand prize, but again, we'll have to wait and see. I do like how they're slowly starting to get this game a bit better. Yeah, there was a rough patch when it came to the last update, but it's nice to know that hopefully moving forward, the updates are going to be a lot better. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, that'll be it for me. Hopefully this video is helpful to you, and hopefully good luck to you guys being able to get this through 100%. And I'll be seeing you whenever these videos come out. So until then, I've been Grim, and I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, don't get shocked on Shock Street.